What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Today, I wanted to go over some news on the newest Pokemon coming into Pokemon Go. Tinkatuff is going to be a very strong Pokemon here in the Go Battle League. It's a Steel and Fairy type Pokemon. It's also fairly bulky and has a decent moveset, so it's going to be a very interesting Pokemon as a core breaker, as just a tank, and it's a Fairy type that's not necessarily going to be playing out like most Fairy types do that you see nowadays. So let's get into the information here and see what this Pokemon is going to be like. So as you can see here, it's going to be released on Wednesday, April 16th from 10 a.m. to April 22nd at 8 p.m. And it's going to be the debut of the entire new line here. This Pokemon is going to be a fantastic Pokemon, but unfortunately, it's going to be egg-locked, as they like to do with a lot of the best Pokemon out there. This Pokemon, luckily, unlike Carbink, unlike maybe Corsola as well, does not take XL candies, at least not for the final stage. It's kind of funny. The middle stage is maybe better. We'll get into this a little bit later, but it will take a little bit of XL candy to use that middle stage version. But the final one is much easier to get, so we'll see if this Pokemon is going to be one you want to trade for better IVs. If you want to maybe get a lot of XL candies as well for Ultra League, it's a very interesting pick, but it is egg-locked, obviously, which is so annoying. I don't know why they keep doing this. Well, I mean, obviously, we know why they keep doing it, but I don't like that they're trying to get all of our money from us to try to hatch all these eggs. I don't like eggs. I don't like anything to do about them, but in a case like this, I guess you're kind of forced into doing them because this is going to be a great Pokemon. So going over the movesets that we're going to be seeing here on this new Pokemon in Pokemon Go, let's take a look at what this Pokemon's stats, what their moves are going to be, and everything there is to know about it. So Tinkaton is the final evolution stage of this Pokemon. It has three forms, right, or three stages. It's going to be Tinkatink that evolves into Tinkatuff, that evolves into Tinkaton, being the final stage here. We're going to see 107 attacks, so a fairly bulky Pokemon, 136 defense, 143 stamina, kind of where like Lapras is going to be in that kind of like bulk stat, with a decent set of moves here too, right? We have Fairy Mode, we have Heavy Slam, and Play Rough as the recommended moveset, but taking a look at its more in-depth move pool, you can see Bulldoze as a potential ground-type coverage and bait move. While we know Bulldoze is not the best move in the game, it is a move that can potentially get defense drops. It's a 50-50 defense drop chance, and it is also a very spammy attack. It's cheapest charged move that Tinkatuff can learn, and because of that, I think you might run it, at least in some metas, in some scenarios. But the other moves it has access to that you might not see too often, Flash Cannon being a very heavy-hitting nuke move. It's not the most efficient nuke move out there, but if you do want a bit more of a heavy-hitting charge move, Flash Cannon could be the way to go. So let's get a look at what this Pokemon is going to be looking like in practice here over on pvpoke.com, where we can simulate all of its matchups here in the 0 shield matchup, 1 shield matchup, 2 shield matchup. We'll go over everything and then potentially take a look at the middle evolution too. So as you can see, a lot of blue across the board. When you see a lot of blue, you know that means a lot of wins here for this Pokemon. Let's take a look at what it's going to be like here in the 0 shield matchup. We can see the record, the win-loss on this screen is going to be 24 wins, 23 losses for the variant with both Heavy Slam and Play Rough. We can see that Bulldoze and Play Rough is going to be just a bit of a higher win-loss ratio here, 26 wins and 21 losses. And then the worst moveset going to be Heavy Slam, as well as Bulldoze, going to be down at 20 wins, 27 losses. So potentially don't go Heavy Slam and Bulldoze. That might not be a good moveset here, but let's take a look at what the individual wins and losses are going to be. So you actually don't drop anything by having Bulldoze and Play Rough here. In fact, you end up picking up Shadow Steelix and Toxapex, likely due to the pacing and the coverage of this ground-type move with these Pokemon weak to ground-type damage. We also see that the other moveset, while it does also pick up both Steelix and Toxapex, you end up losing out a lot of matchups here in the neutral scenario. Heavy Slam is not necessarily a good attack, right? So dropping Play Rough is a little bit sad. I mean, Play Rough honestly is not that good of an attack either, but it is a little bit better, and Steel offensively is a lot worse than Fairy. So you can see you end up losing to Annihilate, Blastoise, Charge Bug, Emolga, Morpeko, and Primeape if you don't have access there to that Play Rough. So very interesting stuff here in the 0 shield matchup. Let's take a look into the 1 shield matchup and see how this Pokemon fares when you give it a shield, when you don't double shield it, but let's see what's going to happen. It's a very even win-loss record here. It seems like the Bulldoze Play Rough moveset does come out on top once again here. Kind of interesting. I wonder if that is going to be the preferred moveset, but they are all very similar, so it's kind of hard to say anything from here. 25 wins, 22 losses for Double Nuke with Heavy Slam and Play Rough. Then, as we said, 26 and 21 with Bulldoze Play Rough, and the Heavy Slam Bulldoze moveset all the way down once again at 24 wins, 23 losses. End up picking up Sandslash with the Shadow Alolan Sandslash, that is, with the Bulldoze moveset, as well as Toxapex once again in the 1 shield matchup. But you do end up dropping Lapras, although that's Shadow Lapras, actually, which is not exactly a common Pokemon. So honestly, once again, this Bulldoze Play Rough moveset kind of looking nice to see right now. And then a lot of different trade-offs here for the Heavy Slam and Bulldoze moveset. You're going to see that you actually end up picking up Annihilate due to the pacing of Heavy Slam being just a little bit cheaper. You also win Azumarill. You also win the Alolan Sandslash and Toxapex like the other one does, but you end up once again dropping the regular Annihilate, Blastoise, Galarian Corsola, Dugong, and Shadow Feraligatr. So some very heavy-hitting Pokemon here that you end up losing out to if you don't have access to Play Rough. I'm thinking right now, just on the look of it here, Bulldoze and Play Rough does seem like it's the best moveset through and through with all the situations we've looked at so far. Is that going to hold true, though, in the two-shield matchup? Let's take a look at that and see if any of these movesets stand out there. So over here, the two-shield scenario, who is going to come out on top? Surprise, surprise. Once again, it's going to be that Bulldoze and Play Rough moveset here. Now, in the two-shield matchup, it can be a bit bait-dependent, right? You have Bulldoze that if you get two Bulldoze baits, maybe you get a defense drop, it can make things a lot different here. So it's not going to be just like the end-all, be-all with what these sims are saying, but it could be a very interesting moveset to take a look at. We see that 21 and 26, so actually a negative win rate here for the double nuke of Heavy Sam and Play Rough. We see 26 and 21, so the exact opposite here with the Bulldoze and Play Rough, and then 22 and 25 here with the Tinkaton using Heavy Sam and Bulldoze. We can take a look at the wins and losses. What do you end up picking up by having access to Bulldoze? Annihilate with the pacing is so helpful. Same with Morpeko. Quagsire, Shadow Quagsire, somehow you beat as a Steel type in the two-shield matchup thanks to Bulldoze and Play Rough. And then Shadow Steelix and Shadow Toxapex, once again, both picked up here for Tinkaton. And then the other variant here with Heavy Slam and Bulldoze also ends up picking up Shadow Annihilate, Morpeko, Shadow Steelix, and Toxapex, but you also drop Emolga, Golisopod, and Feraligatr. So once again, it seems like the middle moveset here with Fairy Wind, Bulldoze, and Play Rough is potentially going to be the best moveset to run on a bulky Pokemon like this. It seems like it has a lot of good play in every single shielding scenario, having access to utility with defense drop with Bulldoze, as well as coverage, and then just a decent nuke move with Play Rough seems like a very good option. So I think that the moveset that I'm going to try out the first time that we get access to this Pokemon is going to be this Bulldoze and Play Rough charge move, Fairy Wind as a fast move, and I think that's going to be the way to go, but maybe in the future here, we'll see if you want to run Heavy Slam for anything. I don't think that Bulldoze and Heavy Slam, though, is going to be the moveset. If you ever run Heavy Slam, it's going to be just Heavy Slam Play Rough. So this Pokemon is going to be pretty standard on what you want to run here, but we'll see what ends up happening when we get to play with it ourselves. So as I was talking about, that's not the only Pokemon, though, coming in with this Pokemon line, right? We have Tinkatuff and Tinkaton. We just looked at Tinkaton here, which is a very good Pokemon. But if we take a look at its first form, or its second form rather, Tinkatuff, it's actually slightly bulkier. Now, while it does require a ton of XL candies, literally the maximum amount that you can have, as well as an active best buddy boost here to get it to 1495 CP, it is able to actually be almost perfect here for Great League, just having the Hundo. It's going to have very similar movesets here, right? Actually, no, it is going to have a slightly different moveset, which might make it a little bit less desirable here, although it is going to be a Pokemon I do want to take a look at, right? It's going to be a Pokemon with just a little bit more bulk. We can see 104 attack here compared to potentially, 107 attack. Very similar stats overall. I don't know if this is going to be worth it to invest, I don't know, 296 XL candies as well as a best buddy boost on a Pokemon like this. So let's take a look at these matchups and see how they fare head-to-head. So we're going to be pairing off the Fairy Wind and Play Rough and, Bulldoze moveset against just the only moveset I guess you can even run on this other Pokemon, Tinkatuff, with the Play Rough and Flash Cannon moveset here in the Zero Shield matchup, actually being very good, has a better average health pool at the end of these matchups, and wins 25 to 22 matchups, whereas it's 26 to 21 with the classic Tinkaton we were just looking at. You end up picking up Dusclops for some reason, which is kind of interesting. I guess just having that raw nuke damage is a little bit more helpful, and then you end up losing out without that Bulldoze coverage here to Shadow Steelix as well as the Toxapex, which makes sense, right? We saw the other Tinkatuff, or other Tinkaton, man, this is going to be a tongue twister of a Pokemon here if they're both meta. But we saw the Tinkatons without Bulldoze also struggling in those matchups. How about the one-shield matchup? Let's take a look at how it fares when you invest in it just a little bit more. And it's kind of similar to what the double nuke Tinkaton was looking like here in the one shields, right? Tinkatuff, unfortunately, without any good pacing here, is going to be a little bit outpaced. And while you do have a bit of extra bulk, it looks like the only thing you end up gaining for that is actually the Azumarill matchup, which could be kind of interesting, right? The Flash Cannon and the extra bulk able to win the one shield matchup against a very common Pokemon. But let's take a look at the losses. You lose out to Annihilate, Blastoise, Morpeko, Primeape, Alolan Sandslash, as well as Toxapex, which means that's a lot of meta Pokemon that you're not going to have play into just to potentially be able to win against Azu. And I don't know if that's necessarily worth it here, especially because, once again, this Pokemon is so expensive. I don't know if Tinkatuff is the way to go, especially because you don't have any bait moves here. But we can take a look at the two-shield matchup and see if anything changes once again. So here in the two-shield, we're going to see that we can go over here and, oh, that's not looking good just on the base of things. Let's take a look at what the numbers say. It's 26 to 21 once again for the Bulldoze and Play Rough Tinkaton, and the Play Rough Flash Cannon Tinkatuff is going to be 21 and 26. We have Grumpig and Lapras Shadow that you end up gaining as the bulkier Pokemon here with that nuke move, but you end up losing out to a lot of big Pokemon here. We see Annihilate you lose to, the Shadow Annihilate as well, Morpeko, Shadow Quagsire, Shadow Sableye, Shadow Sableye as well, which is kind of crazy, saying you don't have any charge moves on Shadow Sableye that can do any damage really to Tinkatuff, because I guess just over time the Shadow Claws add up here, and you have such slower pacing, it's just going to be a bit more awkward. I would assume that's why you end up losing that matchup here, but then once again, the Shadow Steelix and the Talk Specs not having Bulldoze coverage is a little bit detrimental in a matchup like that. So yeah, I guess the verdict on which one to use, in my opinion, Tinkaton is going to be better than Tinkatuff, despite not being quite as bulky. It's very similar stat product. It's also going to just have a better moveset, as well as just a couple more options on what you want to run. Tinkaton here is going to be, what level is it here? Only like level 25, so a very easy Pokemon to get. You hatch it from an egg, maybe you trade it with a friend to get that lower attack stat as you might want to get here. But even an Egg IV1 here, I'm sure wouldn't be that bad. And this Pokemon, I think the moveset Fairy Wind Bulldoze Play Rough is the one I'm going to go for. This is a very exciting pick coming into the Go Battle League, and I'm excited to try it out here in the next couple of days once it does come out. All right, well, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you enjoyed the analysis and you want to see more videos like this on the channel, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps out the channel a ton, and I would really appreciate it. But thank you again for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.